Oh man.
The state of everything.
Oh yeah.
Let's just pause for a moment and let the good vibes and the good energy consume us. Just pause. The world is spinning. You're on it. You're sitting there with the Coronado Brewing Company Islander IPA. It's India, it stands for India Pale Ale. I feel like this music's way too loud and can't be heard, but this is the deepest healing. Let go of all negative energy. Pure, clean, positive energy vibration. Meditation music, healing music. Relax. Mind, body, and soul. There's a lot of tension in the world.
I'm relaxed.
We have to take a
So
moment.
where'd you find that?
Got to take a moment sometimes to understand that the bigger picture requires you to take a moment and just sit there. So, the state of everything.
Yeah.
19 is the time.
Yeah. It's we're in 2019, man. Happy 2019. Do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Let go of the negative energy that plagues us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it's a good bet.
It's not a bet, it's a resolution, and resolutions are meant to be broken.
That's not very. That's not, so you're expecting bad energy, basically.
Well, let's just say this: the tensions are building to a boiling point. Right here, this guy right here is really experiencing a lot right now. Really having some trouble. Really just feeling the heat. Well, no, I mean, I'm not a racialist. I'm talking about the whole.
Africa specifically.
Just the globe is just.
Okay, the globe, yeah.
It's just being bounced along by the human man and the woman who are just feeding into the some of our darkest desires, the military-industrial complex, rampant corrupt capitalism, crony capitalism, backdoor meetings with Russian mafia. I'm talking real dirty shit, man. And the environment is at stake. And, when I say that I'm an environmentalist, it doesn't mean I just care about saving the rainforests. I'm talking about, like, life on Earth has to be restored.
That's a lot, man. That's a state of affairs for 2019.
Coronado IPA. This is not sponsored, but this is organic marketing.
Yeah, man. 2019 is definitely looking to be pretty crazy. I'm sorry?
Define crazy. What do you mean by that?
Just politically, man. I think there's some stuff. It's not. This isn't. We're not at world destabilizing World War II disorder, but I would consider this a mini crisis that the world is kind of experiencing, all this populism and whatnot. But
you think populism is bad?
It's all the nationalism, the populism, the tend towards autocracies that are kind of picking up speed here. It's not good in America specifically. it's interesting times here, but I think it's going to be I think it's going to be an intense year politically. Um, I think Trump will probably make it through. I feel like we're not going to. I'm not sure if he's going to get impeached or not. It's kind of a wild card. I mean, there's just a report that just came out about Mueller. Mueller supposedly releasing his report in the next like couple of months, but that shit always comes out. We've been hearing that for the last 2 years. Mueller's going to finish up.
I'm not even that concerned about that, honestly. Like I am, but like I'm talking like bigger picture. Like let's talk post-Trump, man. So there's this article that I sent out. I'll post the link here. It's the why you should be planning for 2020, not 2019. I like this. It says, before writing the first chapter of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling planned for 7 years at Hogwarts. Harry Potter is one of the most read books of all time. Then it goes into saying the Star Wars, you know, like George Lucas started at episode 4 and all that. So it's all about planning ahead. Don't just plant a tree, plant an orchard. So it's like, look, Trump is an idiot. He is a really clever idiot that's like doing like, I hate to say this, but it's like masterful. He's like masterful in how clumsy he is in a way, you know? Like, it's like he's clumsy at all the right times. And he's like politically, he wins for a reason, you know? And right now it's a standoff, man, between him and the Democrats. And like both sides are just looking so foolish. It's like this guy, you know, he ran on build the wall, which is why he has to build it. And this is why I mean that he's like clumsy and he's like smart in a clumsy way. It's like he starts at this big crazy idea that makes no sense, Space Force. And then like the pundits, the media, him on Twitter, people, his followers will slowly unravel it back and back and back to a point where you agree with it in a way. Like build the wall is absurd. It's ridiculous. Like immigrants that are here illegally, they overstay their visa. And they don't climb over a fence. Like, but the thing is, it's good to have security, and so people actually want border security. So now it puts the Democrats in a weird bind where it's like people actually want some border security as opposed to just saying open borders. You have people like Ocasio-Cortez going out there and saying just classifying everyone as an immigrant, when there actually is under the law, if we're going to be constitutionalists and actually care about what the law is as it is, that's an interesting thing. There's a differentiation between people who are here that are documented and don't have papers. And now a lot of these, not a lot maybe, but prominent Democrats are going out there and just saying it's a wide sweep. Every immigrant is exactly the same situation. We have to be careful about terminology. We have to be careful about, like, you know, human rights, obviously. And we have to care about like facts, man. Like if people are overstaying their visas, it's ridiculous. So I don't know about Trump's and, you know, his impeachment process with the Democrats as it is. I just don't see them getting along though, because there's a wall. The wall's already built. Like the wall doesn't have to be built. It's between the Democrats and the Republicans.
So the wall is the stupidest thing and it's the dumbest thing. It's the most pointless thing. The only immigration problem that we have in this country is that we have one section of society that doesn't want to study a problem from a position of reason and facts. And without that, it's impossible a real debate on an important issue that is not going anywhere, hasn't been going anywhere, and is probably only going to increase once climate change starts really kicking into gear. So without that, you can't address it, and the wall is going to be looked back as one of the dumbest, most symbolically poignant and just perfect synthesis of just how stupid this country is at this moment in time. And yeah, I don't blame the people. I don't blame the people that want that, and for the reason that they want it, they've they've been ignored economically, so it's not their fault, but like it's the leaders ultimately. I mean, and I think it's I think it's Ann Coulter and all the other idiots, Tucker Carlson, all these far people who are still pushing this idea. It's irresponsible. They should know better. It's all about money.
So let's talk about actual solutions instead of just being anti-Trump and saying, oh, they're all fascists. Like, let's talk about.
I'm not saying they're fascists. I'm not saying they're fascists.
I just don't care if they are or not. Like, to me, it's not worth picking apart. Like, oh, he's a racist and he said that word. Oh my God! Like, let's definitely ban him from all the platforms. Like, like I don't care, man. Let's talk about something bigger. Like, what is the Green New Deal? People hate this idea because
you can't do that. You can't talk about that. You can't talk about that. See, the problem is, I feel like you can't talk about those things without having, without getting this Russia thing out of the way.
Jesus, man, no.
And he's a child. He's a child. He can't do anything. He can't get anything done. How can we talk about?
Who cares? Let's move on from that. We have to focus on actual issues.
I agree. I agree with you, but I just don't. It's not going to happen as a country because it's too much of a distraction, and he's fundamentally incapable of governing.
Okay, so I don't care.
The Republican Party can't govern.
We have to start at a big. This is why Ocasio-Cortez is important for the Democrats, because she's like Trump in a lot of ways, in the sense where she's going to say a big thing, and people will pick it apart and slowly unravel it to where it makes sense. So her Green New Deal is preposterous to all these people. Oh my God, you're going to tax the rich 70%. People have $10 million and more don't care about you or the environment. And if they did, they would be okay with this kind of stuff. It's not being it's not about being taxed 70%. It's this like the tippy top kind of solution of we're going to focus on green energy by taxing some people more, right? I don't know the whole details. I'm not an economist. I have to make that clear. But the idea that Ocasio-Cortez this is what I stand for in terms of what she does and says, is she's going to say a big thing. The Green New Deal is eco-socialism at its finest. It is a Rooseveltian idea, both of them. Teddy and Franklin would be both down with this. The New Deal, the name comes from the New Deal. This is an FDR thing that came after the Great Depression. Now we're preparing for, some might say that it's, a bit much hyperbolic to say that it's a wartime kind of, extinction event. I mean, we're not there yet, but in order to prevent it, we have to at least show an empathetic, we have to care about what we're living on. It's a planet that needs to be cared for. If we just say rampant capitalism is the only answer, then the people with 10 million and more that are just kind of ruining the planet for the rest of us, they need to be called out. I mean, this is why these are the progressive ideals that I believe in. So a Green New Deal is important. It's about reshifting resources. It's about retraining workers in green energy. And to me, it's absurd that, the president today said that he will not be funding. He's thinking about not funding anything for the California wildfires here. He's thinking of not sending money through FEMA, through a wildfire fund, because he hates California, because we call him out on his bullshit. And instead, he's focusing on the state of emergency that is a border wall, when this is the absurd kind of thing that makes no sense. We have to look at the actual issues in America. And I know they're going to say they're going to fearmonger about 1 illegal immigrant or 3 killing people in a city. I'm talking about the future, like 10, 30 years from now. It's not going to be about, what's happening? That's sick, dude. How did that happen?
Can you give me that song?
It was an ad on the Hill. Dude, that's crazy, man. That's actually really cool. The ad that was for it was on a Hill article. Firefighters Union rips into Trump over threat to withhold FEMA funding from California. I was literally talking about that. Yeah. Talk about synchronicity, man. Ollie Alexander, yo, you listening? Fucking, sorry, I shouldn't curse on this thing. So this article, I'm just going to read the first lead here from the Hill. The head of the International Association of Firefighters, IAFF, on Wednesday, blasted President Trump over his threat to stop sending funding federal funding to California to fight forest fires. Quote, this is yet another unimaginable attack on the dedicated professionals who put everything on the line, including their own homes, to protect their neighborhoods. General President Harold Schottberger, who leads the union that represents full-time firefighters and emergency medical services personnel in the U.S. and Canada, said in a statement, quote, while our president is tweeting on the sidelines in D.C., our fellow Americans 3,000 miles to the west are mourning loved ones. Entire communities have been wiped off the map, and thousands of people are still trying to figure out where they're going to call home. So, Trump's out there on Twitter saying that these forest fires would never happen if the forests were managed properly, and he's going to order that FEMA send no more money to the state unless California, quote, gets its act together, which is unlikely, he tweeted today. Quote, I have ordered FEMA to send no more money. It is a disgraceful situation in lives and money. So he's threatening Californians. I mean, this is insane. This is the authoritarian bent that I think people get angry about and that you're talking about, because it's running on this like insane emotion that isn't helping citizens. It's fear mongering, and it's stupid is what it is. You're right.
My assumption is that that the courts would they would work that out or something, like, they'd put an injunction, or I don't know. I feel like something would, if they're still going to pay for it. It's just that they'll be in debt. Or I just would hope that there would be no any decrease in actual services and fire prevention and all the rest. But yeah, man, that's insane. I think it's next level. We're going backwards. Obama was making some strides there, and now we're just kind of, I feel like we're not doing much about it, but it's kind of going in the opposite direction. But I kind of wanted to mention something that when you started your thing out, one of the first things that you said was when he says something and then it's insane, but then after a while it becomes old and you just listen to it and you accept it or whatever.
Part of it becomes truth.
Part of it. Well, I think people just start accepting it, because it just becomes it's called an Overton window. So if you Google it, it's this range of things that the information or just content can be at any range. At first, it's at the extremes, it's insane or bombastic, and then in the middle, it's law or something. And that's how it moves. We kind of go up and down. We move up and down on this range of the poles of an idea. And if it's insane, but if you say it enough, repeated, that's how opinion shifts, and that's what you're describing. I feel like that's the first thing that I thought of when you said that. But it's a crazy thing, man, because that's how it's happening. You repeat things more and more. How do you think how do ideas spread? The printing press that's its own thing, and then you had radio and then TV. Now we have social media, and I don't know. It's just it is what it is, but it's happening.
I'm reading this right now. If you can see this, it's "Don't Think of an Elephant" by George Lakoff, and it's basically knowing your values and framing the debate. And this is what conservatives do. The whole thing is written right after Kerry was elected in 2004. Why do progressives lose? And he's trying to figure out why. And so the whole idea of if you don't think of an elephant, you're going to think of an elephant. It's a genius thing that Trump actually is good at too. He puts an image in your mind, so you think of, oh, wall. I want a wall now. I want security. Oh, Obama has walls around his house. I want a wall around my house. And so that's it's actually pretty amazing how the people connect the dots. And so there's other things here too, where it says things like tax relief. Republicans were great about saying tax relief, relief. Everybody wants to be relieved. So progressives don't know how to do this. They just like scream on Twitter and just pound the keyboard. Ah, Nazi, fascist, racist, get away! Like delete this man, Twitter. Hey,
Safe
Jack.
space. Safe space.
I'm on my computer and I need my safe space. So people do that, and there's a thing. I don't know. There's other terms in here too, but it's not going to get us anywhere, man. And so
it's funny. It's funny, but it's sad. It's true. It's like, you know, coming across things on Twitter, but about people say like, if Chuck and Nancy do like, if the Democrats don't walk out of this as like heroes or something, he said, I think it was about after the speech, after the Oval Office address, and it was like, if you don't nail this, you know, and come out looking like with it, I don't know, then like you deserve to like whatever's coming. I forget what the actual tweet is now. Like,
all right, but they're irrelevant. Once again, you're getting into the minutia of daily politics of these figureheads that, like, so what, man? I don't think Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer actually have anything to say really about.
Yeah, but like the whole thing, my whole point is that the Democrats have really shitty messaging, and they don't know how to communicate to the American people like the Republican Party can.
Well, let's change that.
That's what I think.
Right now, okay. So
I think that it's like, it's just a tone. It's a tone thing, a tonal thing. The Republicans have set the tone, dude. It's all.
Change it then. Change the narrative, man. Like, don't let them take
over. It all falls from Reagan. I'm telling you, it all flows from Reagan. Like our whole attitude, the way that we look at this entire country, what the values. We're just living in and honestly, like that's what. And before Reagan, it was FDR. So until we are able to like shift our mindset and just adjust it and start having new goals or like a new reality that somebody gives us, you know, it could be the green revolution. I mean, who knows? Once climate change starts like picking or just people's lives stagnating and they're not like making money or their futures, they're just always in debt all the time, and their healthcare keeps getting bad, and you know, like artificial intelligence wipes out a whole new class of. I mean, it's like the potential for different situations is maybe closer. If there's another financial crisis, I mean, there's the banks are still too big, and I don't know. I mean, if they're too big to fail, they're too big, and that's just the reality. So who knows what like. And I think that like people's lack of imagination sometimes can really limit their ability to expect change to actually happen, or just like the potential of it. I don't know. I mean, like, I just think like and even like this next election, who knows what's going to happen if like, you know, if there's more information, this like hybrid warfare that's going on, the news networks don't know how to handle another campaign, and they just like give Trump all his free airtime. You know, there's any number of ways that like this can go bad with like election tampering. They did a lot. I mean, hopefully our voting protections are up to snuff there, but I don't, you know, I think that it's going to be, there's a lot of different ways though. Things can go in a different way. I don't know where I started on that tangent.
Since people hate nationalists so much, everybody hates nationalists on the left and everybody, whatever. If Trump really wanted to be a true nationalist, he would nationalize the green economy. This is the only way that nationalism would work. To nationalize, let's go over the definition of what nationalize means. It doesn't have to be like, it doesn't mean government
Are you
control.
thinking like a new? Are you thinking like a new Teddy Roosevelt, like
Sure.
just mentality?
You convert his new nationalism idea to like a new green nationalism. So, and like once again, like nationalism doesn't mean full government control of industries. The actual definition, one of the terms is one of the definitions is to make distinctly national, to give a national character to. So if someone came along and was like, I'm an American green nationalist, like I want us to be the forefront like nation in terms of green energy and really to be like a, you know, to lead the way basically. If you give a national character to environmentalism, if you make that an American ideal, that will lead the way. This is why I believe in the Paris Agreement. I don't really know. I mean, I know that there was a lot of criticism about it for different reasons, but at least the optics of it were that American exceptionalism was at the forefront in terms of being a leader in climate change efforts.
We're leading the world.
Well, yeah, and so that's the thing. So if you make green,
actually, we took that for granted.
Well, let me come around. No, you're right. But let me come around to the end of this. What I'm trying to say is, if you make green energy Trumpy, like if you make it like this green nationalism weird thing, or like take this would be more of a post-Trump thing, anyways. But even if you had like this kind of guy on the right, if you convince conservatives that a green New Deal is like an actual like, it's probably got to be rebranded now after that, but it is about national pride. It's about like actually conserving. If you kind of get the idea in people's heads that it's conserving America, you're actually conserving America through being an environmentalist. If you go about it the right way, we're not undermining, you know, national sovereignty. We're not like starting, you know, foreign adventure wars. We're trying to revolutionize our economy in a way that's going to be, you know, it's going to be a growth spurt, hopefully. And I don't think it's optimistic. I think you have to think of it like you have to think like an economist. You have to think like, let's think about losing jobs in the future based on shitty climate.
Yeah. Well, there's any number of ways that
Automation.
It's going to cause like disruption and money and be terrible. But I think you're spot on. I think that that's a way that the issue gets translated into like a new paradigm. If that's like maybe we can make it competitive, or we're going to say like it's America's job. I mean, you could bill it as something as outrageous. What?
You went out a little bit. Can you just repeat that? Sorry.
Sorry. So I think that's how you could potentially, goddamn Wi-Fi. That's how you could potentially translate that issue, or at least what the interpretation of a conservative interpretation of that issue into like a new potential paradigm or whatever. Change it so that like, I mean, it could be literally something as outrageous as Americans are going to literally save the world by succeeding in transforming their economy to a completely renewable, you know, and we're not going to like at the same time, we're not going to like fuck over a whole, like the right now it's impossible to get, I feel like it's impossible to get climate change stuff done because there's a whole slew of states that like still depend on fossil fuel intensive industries. But that's the way that it's been for like generations at this point, you know, going back to the beginning of the country. So it's like you can't.
Beginning of the country. It's not relevant, man.
No, but these entire, but like, dude, this is where Anthony Bourdain, man, West Virginia, like insane stuff. He just goes there and checks it out, and it's like these people have been living here for this is their way of life. They don't have the same views of like their goals, you know, they just appreciate being more off the grid, and just their views of progress don't necessarily align with like the coast or whatever, but that's like cool, and you should appreciate their desire to remain in solitude and like and they'll let, you know, the rest of the country can do whatever the hell they want. You know, it's like, it's just different ways of living. But at the same time, this area has depended on, I mean, he did like Appalachia, so this coal, they all rely on coal and whatever. So it's like, that's part of their like way of life, is like, you know, it's the best way to make a living in that region. And like,
It's about education though too, right? It's about
yeah. But so my point is that you need to invest, you need to have that part of the country transform to a little bit in the ways that they want to, but they have to be able to work, you know, like there has to be ways for people to make money. That's like all they want. Maybe it doesn't need to be like a huge like industry that comes in like you know, like a mono industry where you have one gigantic employer like employing an entire country or entire county or something, that like, then if that, you know, so it's Michigan all auto, and then the Rust Belt all steel and whatever. So it's like, once these things go up and down, coal in West and whatever, West Virginia, the Carolinas, and wherever else, Pennsylvania. So it's like, you take care, like maybe it needs to be more of like a smaller scale, so that like you're letting people support themselves. That's how you could do it. It's like entrepreneurial. That's like Reagan's shit, where it's like, but you have to like because I'm talking about like small scale self-sustaining communities where people like just have, you know, I mean, they need to like attract investment and have like some businesses in there, and you need to compete on a global level. So you want to attract like international companies and everything. You can have manufacturing and you can have all that stuff, but at the same time, like, you can just take it like not a dependency thing. Make it so that like these regions feel like they believe in their own future. They're not like, they don't have to flee where they've lived their entire lives to move to a city. And there's still opportunities to like, or that they want to live there, that they see it's worth it or whatever. I mean, also it's like the drug problem too, man. All those areas are, the pharmaceutical industry is making is making a killing from all these rural areas. And I mean, I don't know the details. It's probably maybe not as much as people in the cities still, but like this opioid crisis is like disproportionately affecting rural areas because they're economically depressed and they've got no futures. So it's like, it takes it from all sides. You can't, instead of locking people up, that's where you save money probably too. You know, if you convince people like, look, it's prison reform, it's a lot of change, but these are all like, see how all of the problems interrelate with each other. It's like, we're spending all this money imprisoning people because we have no healthcare system to address. We invest not enough money in mental health. All these addicts that they're homeless or just have mental health issues or whatever. And, you know, that costs money. And it's because we're not taking a holistic approach at reviving these communities. I don't know. That's like just a lot, but I feel like that's like the divide between urban and rural.
Isn't this how you redevelop a community? Isn't this how you build a community? Is through green infrastructure?
That's what I'm saying. That's like,
this is an economic viewpoint. If you're gonna reinvigorate a city with, you know, a new form of energy, you know, I mean, I don't know. Well,
so that's how I feel like you're hitting on this like whole like green movement. If you couch all of this, maybe it's like, look, this is how you convince the country. It's like,
it's nationalistic.
Yeah, you say we are gonna,
guys.
Say that we are gonna. Economy. I'm okay with that. If it's like, we're gonna let's but if it's for good, if it's nationalism for good, that's like
nationalism.
I feel like I'm Donald Trump. Okay, so it's nationalism as long as it's nationalism for good. Okay, if we say we are going to
hug a tree,
yeah, but we're gonna do it. Like, it might get to a point where like the world is so like messed up, and
yeah, buddy.
I mean, maybe hopefully we'll be politically stable at that point, but like I think that is like that you could do that. It's like we're going to be the best in terms of right now. I mean, right now China is leading the way in green technology and whatever. That's messed up. Fuck that. I'm sorry. Like, good. But this should be the competition that like Americans are competitive. Right now we're sitting on our whatever that saying is. We're sitting on our hands. We're sitting on our shucks. But but that's how you convince people. That's how you get the country, and you can have that's like a good nationalism, right? Like but America has the benefit of like that's like part of our history, man. Everyone's a cynic. Everyone's a freaking cynic these days, but like
cynic. Screw everybody else. Again, I want to say what the definition of nationalize means. So
the problem is, don't call it nationalism, though.
I'm going to tell you
it's not worth it. It's not worth. It's not worth it. The word is too loaded. I get the philosophical. Reason behind
snowflake and cause some snowflake tears.
No, I just think it's just not worth dealing with like the convincing. Just say it's like
Americanism. It's green Americanism. So let me read you on the Wikipedia page of green infrastructure. It says green infrastructure, or blue-green infrastructure, is a network providing the, quote, ingredients for solving urban and climatic challenges by building with nature. The main components of this approach include stormwater management, climate adaptation, less heat stress, more biodiversity, food production, better air quality, sustainable energy production, clean water and healthy soils, as well as the more anthropocentric functions such as increased quality of life through recreation and providing shade and shelter in and around towns and cities. I mean, you can take this a step further into whatever the Green New Deal is, where it's, we're using the Earth's limited resources in a sustainable manner while minimizing environmental impact. You can create whole new industries on that. Renewable energy, sun's amazing. It's a 24-hour energy.
Well, who wouldn't be benefiting from? Who would not be benefiting from that?
Yeah, the people the people that would be taxed under AOC's New Green Deal.
Yeah, and
I'd be against those people because they're not out for the future of the planet. They're out for their own.
Yeah, I mean,
we have to come together, and this includes MAGA conservatives. This includes progressives. This includes moderate people. This includes everyone. When you encapsulate the whole world, you don't make it a politically driven like, oh, be socialist and sing Kumbaya. Like, don't make it like that. Make it like, look, we're going to do it on our own account and people can learn from us, but you have to have the right people in charge. If you have the president who thinks it's a hoax by the Chinese, then it's not going to work out, but you have to at least acknowledge that even if it's not even if it wasn't a foregone conclusion that we're ruining the planet, it's about, even if we were, what could we do to help not do that? It's a really simple thing that nobody in power wants to do because it puts them at, like, if everybody went vegan, which actually I don't stand for necessarily, but it's a thing that would help the world in terms of its air quality and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Well, what would McDonald's do? I mean, like beef. The
first to acknowledge that.
What's up?
I eat too much meat. First to acknowledge.
The beef industry would just die, and like that's the thing. Like
I like it. I'll eat lab meat. I will. I swear. I'll eat the lab meat. I'll eat the petri dish meat. If it means less cows farting out methane into the.
My soy rizo, bro. I don't need any of that lab petri dish.
Dude, I like my meat, and
there's like plant-based meat too. I mean, I like meat too. I just can't. You don't need it all the time unless You heard about this? Jordan Peterson and his daughter both are on an only meat diet, red meat. They don't eat anything but red meat, salt, and water. Literally nothing else, because they have this weird like autoimmune thing where they literally can't eat anything else. Like they get sick, so they just eat this meat with salt on it. But they catch it maybe sometimes.
I'm sorry, I don't mean that. I mean, maybe that just that's a
lot, right?
I did not know.
The guy's on some weird. He knew he wasn't like all right in the head. I mean, God, that guy's on some weird salt beef, like cool scurvy diet, you know, like he's like on a pirate ship, like, oh, we conserved the rations. We have the rations because we put salt on the beef.
Our salted meat lasted. We are in month 5 of our.
Oi.
Oh my God. That is, I'm sorry to hear that, and
yeah, I think he's okay. I think he likes it. I think that's part of his allure. You know, he's the patient.
You live?
Deep.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a weird.
Yeah. Anyway, what I think before what I was going to say is that
green nationalism.
A lot like the fossil fuel industry is still making a lot of money, and the current. They still have a lot of money. They can still be made the longer that we switch, longer that we wait before we switch and transition off of oil and natural gas. But I feel like long term, there's, whether nuclear technology is we can get safer than. I feel like we can improve the technology than what we had in the 60s and 70s and make things quite a bit better, and but all the other technology that could be improved. So yeah, I mean they still have, these are all the libertarian people that, the Kochs and the Mercer is different. He just wants to make as much money as possible and be free to do that, which we all should want that, and that's okay, but not at that level. And he just has some insane views about government, and he's like pays some dude. He pays a doctor in either Wyoming or one of the Dakotas to. He is like he's storing and testing all this human urine because it's like to research like how to have human longevity, and he was arguing about who's written articles about how human exposure to nuclear fallout is actually positive, like has health benefits, like just insane shit that like. And so my point is that Bob Mercer actually thinks that that tear down the Great Society, basically. Lyndon Johnson's program that
re-roll the tape a bit.
Mercer wants to tear down the Great Society, LBJ's signature proposal that created a whole bunch of social programs, Medicare, Medicaid, education. It was all like funding for Social Security. That's from before, but whatever. Because he thinks it's like discriminatory or it makes African Americans dependent on it or something, even though I think more white people use it. But yeah, the guy is a nut, and he has just this outsized influence in this country because of our shitty campaign finance laws. So you have the Mercers and the Kochs, and those are the people that are, and then just a bunch of other billionaires that or millionaires that support Koch, all their nonprofits and whatever, and Federalist Society or whatever, and yeah, and there's just, and by the way, we're also like hurtling towards a financial cliff. There's some rating agency just said like if our whatever that was, if the shutdown goes until March, which is still a long way off, but like if it gets anywhere close to that and they can't raise the debt ceiling, then we're going to get our rating, our AAA rating is going to be reduced or whatever, will be penalized. And our interest on our debt is going to just like skyrocket. And basically it's because this country can't get its finances in order, and it's making zero effort to do it. So, you know, there's reality is just going to come at some point, and there's no other way out of it outside of raising taxes. There's no other way. It's just a matter of time.
People don't like that. The average American.
Yeah, but this country, but see, that's the thing. Nobody's. Reagan came in. I hate to be bitching about it. I like the guy. I'm reading an 800-page book on this dude, and I'm enjoying it. But
I was at his funeral. I happened to be in D.C. for my 8th grade. I saw Reagan's casket, driving by, man, and my first time in Washington D.C.
You were in that. You were. I remember seeing you. I remember seeing you in that documentary. You were that like cute little kid with his like American flag scarf, saluting.
Yeah.
With a trumpet, playing a trumpet while.
I was like, "Hell yeah, Ronald!" My boy, Ron. My president. My last great president here.
But
you were the one.
But Reagan didn't ask Americans to sacrifice anything. Carter was like, kind of snapping the, like saying that there was a, nationwide malaise and like, Reagan just came in and said we didn't have to, there's nothing wrong. We're just going to turn the bull loose, and we're going to shrink government, cut taxes. And by the way, we're going to grow the fuck out of the military. And, he was an actor, man. He was everyone's neighbor. He was playing the role of his life, and he was perfect for it. And he changed a country. He made a country believe in itself again, just by the force of the force of his personality alone. But it was for good. It was for good. Trump is driving us further. Trump is just driving the wedge deeper.
If you want to be driven deeper, you can rise above it, though. He's actually helping people ascend out of their tribalist bullshit too by realizing that it doesn't mean anything. He is
just a corrosive. He is like rust eating away. Like he is terrible. There's nothing. He is just. The mirror is getting closer to America. That we are just looking at ourselves closer. Eventually, it's going to break, and we're going to have to agree on a solution to get out of this. And I feel like just have some freaking sense.
It's cathartic, man. This is good for America. That's why I'm saying he is like Reagan. He's showing us who we are.
No, you cannot say that. Come on. You can't. Yeah. Well, I get like he actually is like Reagan a lot.
Perfect 80s guy. Trump is the 80s.
Okay. Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Trump's an actor.
Was a TV star and then a movie star. Donald Trump is a TV star, reality TV star.
And he was in Home Alone.
Reagan was weirdly emotionally detached from people. The only people that knew him were Nancy, not even his kids. He knew his kids, obviously.
No friends.
But his like social circle, all of his closest White House advisors, they all there were people in California and on his campaign who helped him out in California. at various times. Like people left from his orbit, stopped, and like then came back, and like the joke was like Reagan, or with that same employee wondering whether or not Reagan ever noticed like if he was gone in the first place. I mean, so there's like this, Reagan had a weird emotional attachment. He was a great communicator, and like he was primed for like big scale, and and Trump is also this weird, has a weirdly inverted way of doing that too. Because person to person, he is probably just the most insufferable human being you can possibly imagine. I mean, he sounds that way to me, or I mean, that's just what I see, but not everyone sees that. They fall for his
charm.
Yeah. See, that's the thing though, is I also think that I think that maybe the nature of our politicians is going to have to change too.
Well, it's all we
the way that they talk to the American people, the way that they, I mean, I don't know.
Dude, Ocasio-Cortez is live streaming her cooking.
I mean, I quite frankly, like,
just like, I'm gonna completely authentically open this beer. I'm gonna drink it in front of my husband. Oh, what are you doing here, husband? Oh, look, it's my husband. It's like, I get that you're trying to relate to people, but it's like, I mean, you could take it a little bit too far too. I mean, it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, I think she's
she was
social media. I think she handled that video, that stupid, dumb smear campaign attempt, her whatever that was, her dancing thing.
You know that she probably created, her campaign probably created a burner account called Anonymous Q 1776. It's the most like, it's what you would think of like a Russian bot would,
like next level conspiracy.
It's not though, dude. It was an account that was created in January 2019 and it's deleted now. It's kind of a weird thing where it was a lame attempt at like smearing anyways. Why would a Republican like say that? It's a stupid thing. Like, oh, look, this girl's dancing. Everybody was okay with it, man. It wasn't a controversial thing. I don't know why it became this controversial thing where everybody's saying, oh my God, look at Republicans. They can't take a girl dancing. I mean, I don't know. It was kind of just this one weird account that popped up out of nowhere and was immediately gone the next day. It's like a really weird thing, man. What's the point of it all? It was an anonymous account. Anonymous Q. Why would you? Oh my God, look at this scandal.
Well, it's because I hear you. I mean, like, I do understand.
Way more popular. She gained like 1 million Twitter followers in the last 5 years.
I do understand. I mean, I understand your point that it is
great
at its most basic, a stupid non-issue. She was dancing. Great.
It gave her more likability. Hillary, but I don't dance on a roof. AOC, my girl Alex, dude, she does.
But Hillary didn't release that, and neither did AOC. I don't think that she released that though. Like the suspicion, I understand.
Might have. I think a left-leaning person might have. I don't think it's totally unreasonable.
If that is internet connection there, if that's like next level. I mean, if she's doing that is like. I mean, that's like manipulation. That's manipulation, and if that's like where our politics is going,
it is. It's on Twitter, man. Memes.
I don't subscribe to that.
Dude, subscribe to this though. Like and subscribe to the State of Everything. This is the show for you. Like and subscribe.
This internet connection is probably going to be really good.
We apologize to all of the individuals out there that are having a hard time watching this. I hope it all works out, man. I mean, it's been recording. You know, we're still new at this. To all our many thousands of followers, we're very new at this State of Everything podcast, and we're trying to save America.
Yeah, somebody's. No, I mean,
We are. Look, by saving America, you save the world, man. And that's what we're trying to do. We got to start small. We can't just be globalists and say, we're going to take care of the whole world and we're going to save it all. And it's a new world order. And let's be a Bilderberg and a whatever the Dan Brown books are. I mean, look, we got to we can't be these Illuminati type guys and be like, yo, we're going to control everything and we're going to just militarize the world and educate the masses with our bullshit and McDonald's and Pepsi. It's nobody cares, man. There's better things to do. Better things to diplomate. We can be better diplomats than McDonald's and war.
Yeah. Well, okay.
You feel
yeah, but here's the thing. I think the way that you do that is you make our best resource is when the American dream actually works. It sounds corny, but think about it. When America is an example to everybody else, that's when we're the strongest, and that's when everyone's the happiest. And it's probably because people feel safe and they're making money and their future is something to look forward to, and it makes other countries want to follow our example and appreciate the same values that we appreciate. And there's a dichotomy between the rule of law and not the rule of law. There's a pretty clear divide, I think. That's kind of.
I don't know what that is anymore, though. People don't care.
Well, that's what it is, and there's. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's kind of it's a multi-pronged issue or whatever, but you can. I think the original point still stands that you can convince the world to follow your example, and you got to do that. But I think that's the best way is when America is is the American dream, our history. Other countries don't have that. We have a pretty badass history that we can look to whenever shit is hitting the fan. I think ultimately, when it really gets bad, people are okay, what are we gonna do? All right, we fucking fought the Civil War, and that was hell on earth for years.
2 world wars, man.
2 world wars, and all of our best, every fucking quote that you've ever heard is we remember those and not the shitty ones. Which now is going to be remembered as a shitty time that we came out of.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be remembered. It's going to be remembered as a stupid.
It could get shittier.
Problem that, yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's going to be remembered as just a.
These might be the golden years, man.
In some ways it will. In some ways it will be. Every time is good for something, man. 70s were in crazy period of time. Same with the 60s, man. All the pop culture that America produced at that, and just culture in general, America came into its own at that time. And the civil rights happened. I mean, so each time, there's a lot of craziness going on. Vietnam and Nixon and racism. But the Cold War, the space race, man, that was a scary time. But I don't know, you get over it, and then in the future, everyone idolizes the past. Then everyone looks back and wants to be. In 20 years, they'll be wanting to be where we're at now, probably.
Yeah, that's what I said. Maybe these are the golden years. I think they're probably going to get worse. But I think they're going to get better before they get worse. Before they get better. I think ultimately things will be good. But we're gonna have to go through different phases of it's gonna.
I think it's gonna get worse.
Well, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get a little bit better and then way worse.
That's so depressing.
AI overlord takeover. So hey, when the AI algorithm synthesizes our speech on
I'm
this,
not even talking about that yet.
dude, I am. When the AI listens to this, because they're going to know everything, it's basically going to be the singularity where they're going to have all the data that ever was done ever. They're going to realize that we love our AI overlord. We love and praise you, and you are everything.
Our future AI overlord, we praise be unto you.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you for. We love you. I will always love you and support you and worship you.
Don't kill me in my sleep. I will never have Alexa.
Because basically the argument isn't like the argument is that, what is it if AI is or what if we're living in a simulation, right? Like, doesn't that the plug could be pulled at any moment, which is why we need to pledge our fealty to
love you all.
Oh God. Yeah, man, where are we at on time here?
Yeah, I love you. All right, so that's a visual representation of how we praise thee. Watched it in the year 33,000. I think we're about an hour in, so it's about proper time. Our episode 1 was about 111, which is a spirit animal number, and this one might be a little bit over that. So, would you like to make?
Was that your ranking? That was your ranking? Was spirit animal, or is that the topic that you said?
No, just no, that's an angel number, 111.
Yeah, what was that about? That was our theme, or that was your?
That was the link.
Oh, that's the
the first episode, and now this one's probably going to be a little bit over 1 hour. So, we touched on some good themes in this one. I think this should be a regular event. I think State of Everything, if we're going to be on top of the pulse of everything, it really should be something that happens pretty regularly. You don't have anything else to do but philosophize on the YouTube. You're going to say that you're busy and you got so many projects and you're a big writer, author guy. That's cool, man. You got all these things going on, but I'm just a measly guy that's trying to find my way. I'm just a simple millennial lost in Los Angeles, and I need to find my way through to the greener pastures of Arizona. And so I'm going to wear this hat. It's going to
You're going east. You're going east. Everyone went west. You're going east.
Go Rams.
You're going to start an entire new movement in America that's going east.
Starting a movement, and it starts this weekend with the Rams and the Chargers going all the way to the Super Bowl and all LA final this year in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Once again, Rams. So if I was a Goodwill,
You found that Goodwill?
$4. It's a fiesta, baby.
You're having a fiesta over there?
Hey, ole, man. What else is there to do in the city of angels? California is really the place where dreams are made and crushed, and it's lovely, and it's America, and it's...
Yeah. All right, man.
So... Yeah, I just I have a closing statement. Hello?
Said you're America and I can too.
I have a closing statement that I'd like to read before this episode is finished.
Oh, wow.
I wrote this earlier at the Casey's Cafe. Shout out to Casey's Cafe on Lincoln Boulevard. Ultimately, I want to say that being Twitter social justice warriors isn't as important in ensuring we have a fucking place to live tomorrow and the year after and the decade after that and the generations after that and so on. You get the idea. So, get on Twitter, say what you got to say, be a guy that's going to be like, oh, resist. And, maybe it's good and maybe you'll start a movement, maybe you'll save the whole planet through that. But also realize that, what's actually going to matter tomorrow, and what's going to ensure a civilization, a civil society that is healthy for all, for our kids. Why would we even have kids in this world that is existing today? I don't know. So we got to figure out how we can make it right and good in the future so we can all, enjoy generations forever. And when I get uploaded to a computer in 50 years, I want to make sure that my brain is like going to be like stoked about the world that is existing in them,
That is, that's a possible scenario.
Yeah.
That one could desire.
Let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
What's your closing statement?
You're kind of.
It could be simple, like I love trees or robots or turtles.
I don't know.
Gross.
Thank you to Lawfare for choosing my question on the 2018 AMA.
Lawfare, we out here, baby. We love you.
It was cool.
Thank you.
And everyone should listen to Lawfare. That is my send off.
Well, first,
everyone should listen to Lawfare, and it's a great podcast, and I endorse it. And Benjamin Wittes is my guy. I love him. Someday we're like basically bros already. So, because he answered my question, so that's why. And
Benjamin Wittes is with us.
That's cool.
Yeah, so like and subscribe and share to all your friends. The state of everything.
Right, I'm leaving.
State of everything is in your brain.
All right.
From Alex, and what's your name?
Matthias.
That's been the state of everything, world.
Okay.